On the auspicious date of Wednesday, May 8, 2024, a remarkable event unfolded at the Alliance Francaise Micah Denuga Center in Ikoyi, Lagos. The public presentation of the book, Leading from the Streets, subtitled Media Intervention by a Public Intellectual, authored by the esteemed Magnus Onyibe. Magnus Onyibe, a distinguished alumnus of the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University, Massachusetts, USA, is renowned as an entrepreneur, public policy analyst, author, development strategist, broadcaster, and a former commissioner for information in the Delta State government. The event saw the presence of an illustrious array of dignitaries from diverse spheres, including General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR, Nigeria's former head of state, serving as the chairman of the occasion, Aremo Olusegun Oshoba, former governor of Ogun State, His Excellency Donald Duke, former governor of Cross River State, His Excellency James Ibori, former governor of Delta State, Oluye Niko Alabi, a veteran journalist, author, and public relations guru, Professor Erusa Osage, DG of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, Prince Bisi Olatilo, Chairman CEO of Biscayne Communications, Professor Anthony Killer, Director of the Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies, among others. The event commenced with the stirring rendition of the Nigerian national anthem by soloist song star King Madi, accompanied by George the saxophonist. General Yakubu Gowon, in his opening remarks, expressed his pleasure at being part of the significant gathering. He provided a brief overview of the event's purpose and the book's content, lauding Magnus Onyibe for his insightful contributions.
So I'm indeed delighted to serve as the chairman for this auspicious event and to introduce a work that delves deep into the core issues that define Nigeria's socio-economic and political landscape. In the book, Leading from the Streets, Media Interventions by a Public Interest Intellectual, 1999 to 2019, Magnus Onyibe brings to the fore critical topics ranging from democracy and governance to business and economy, from corruption and graft to our nation's relations with Africa and the global community. His insightful analysis and proposed solutions offer valuable guidance to policymakers and serve as a catalyst for informed debate and discussions.
The book, Leading from the Street, Media Interventions by a Public Intellectual, 1999 to 2019, was then meticulously reviewed by Professor Erusa Osage, who hailed it as elegant in every aspect.
So if you want to have one peep into this book of over 540 pages, it is that it documents, all the things that have happened, the way the street has grown. The second is that the street is also a symbolic parliament. Those of us who go to street vendors know that the kinds of animated discussions and debates we have, especially for those of us who are free readers, would make you want to, answer the roll call every day. So there are people who habitually go to the streets to vendors, and they are there. So this is a street parliament, and it's fantastic, to have that. It means that you can have people who may be outside of the mainstream, but have found a resonance for themselves, and the relevance is that they contribute, they have civic engagement. So the street is very important. But think of of a street also as a site of protest. So we've had street protests. And many of the things that have changed countries, societies, communities have come from the streets. So what's about leading from the streets is precisely that point. And I think the author himself has done well to set a framework, because he says, even from all that he has written, the point is there has to be a feedback process. And that feedback is what drives policy and drives its implementation. And therefore there's an adjustment, instrument in what he's doing, which will drive governance as a whole.
Insights from those who had read the book followed, with media editors, fellow columnists, and mentors sharing the impactful aspects.
I would like to add, it's a book that you must read. It just has opened the market. When you go to Alaba market, you can buy how many things, anything you want to. If you go to the Igbo market, ladies, you can do what? Buy so many things. Then if you take this reading from the streets, the book, it supplies you all what you need to know about the socio-political ideology of Nigeria. He has treated the book from three foundations. One, the historical foundations of Nigeria, what it was. He went to the second level, which I call the sociological foundation. That is to say, what Nigeria should be. And finally, he went on to the philosophical foundation of Nigeria, what he thinks Nigeria should be in the next century. So, and he has provided solutions. Some of the solutions are achievable. Some may not be. Some may be capable of so many complexities and turbulence. Sometimes we thought that some.
And this is a prologue in that regard. It's very well produced. What I find again unique about the book is the method he has adopted there. The book has already reviewed itself. At the end of every part, 7 parts, you have a prominent person who has reviewed the book, who gives his own opinion. You have Dr. Lisa Bakuba, you have His Excellency Chief Olusegun Oshoba, you have Awa Raspanjani, you have, who else is there? Right Reverend Nicolas Soko, you have Dr. Gumi, Ahmad Gumi, all of them offering their opinions after every chapter, making the book very robust. So it's not just the author talking to us from his collection, it's also having other people's views. And then, of course, it's a tripartite interaction. We also end up having our own views when we read those chapters. What are the issues he has faced? The same eternal issues are the core of the Nigerian national question. Corruption, ethnicity, our relationship with our neighbors, politics, the electoral process. These are the same problems we have been dealing with. We put a date, maybe from 1999, till date. Now, on all of those issues, we're still discussing the same issues today. Giving us the impression, 2 things. One, that Nigeria is a perpetual work in progress.
Dr. Idowu Oyebanjo then delivered a presentation titled From the Street, How Do We Get the Power Sector Right in Nigeria, aligning with the book's themes.
Federal government should establish a presidential advisory task force on power, which will then establish a power system architect to look at the complex electricity market that we have ahead of us. So that presidential advisory task force on power will give strategic direction and help to coordinate the development of the power sector. The second one is what I call power for economic purpose. P for P. P for EP. immediately, within the next 6 to 12 months, the federal government should provide power to the industrial clusters all over the country. By giving power to the agro-allied businesses, to the manufacturing sector, to oil and gas businesses, you are suddenly going to re-energize the economy. The third one, the Electricity Act, should be faithfully implemented. We've seen what happened in Aba with Geometry recently, where they built this independent power project. That's what will happen in Enugu, because they have now established their state electricity market. This is what will happen in Ekiti State and Ondo. I know other states are also coming behind. So from the Presidential Task Force on Power to the industrialized, in every state, get the industries, get the industrial clusters and power them. I've done the study, I've done the analysis for the entire nation, but I won't go into that now. I know exactly where these pockets are in every state, and what we are saying is that these people should be given this power first, while they leave the remaining 3,500 for us, so that we don't suffer than we are doing now.
A brief musical interlude with King Mahdi led to the grand unveiling of the book, Leading from the Street, Media Intervention by a Public Intellectual, 1999 to 2019, orchestrated by General Yakubu Gowon and a distinguished cohort of media personalities.
Can somebody hold this? So, now, usually, so we sort of cut this tape to declare the book open.
A panel discussion, moderated by Professor Anthony Keller, explored Tinubunomics, delving into its efficacy, challenges, and the way forward.
The issue of social media regulation will continue to be with us so long as we have the people that Shoyinka describes as the rabbits or the scums of the internet. They will continue to be with us. The question is not whether we should regulate it. The question is whether we should prosecute the vermin in the internet. Somebody has started it, and I think we should borrow a lead from Baba Tunde Raji Fashola, who took one of them to court. And I learned that the person is even between his tail is between his legs now begging.
Yes.
That is the attitude we should take to it.
Regulation and moderation is necessary. But when you belong to a climb like the Nigerian climb, I will still mind my words, where many of our leaders, I will define leaders in the course of this discussion, have been discovered to be morally bankrupt and are suffering from moral insolvency. You have no option than to allow it to come out. That's the way I see it. If you don't do that, I'm telling you, from the way Nigeria is going, you could all see, everybody can see it. Everything about Nigeria has almost rolled to the cliff edge and is collapsing into the valley. So with regulation, if care is not taken, I'm telling you, we will wake up one day and we'll discover that we have become a country of melancholies. As far as I'm concerned, I respect and I appreciate moderation, but looking at our kind of climb, media regulation and control should be checked.
I think for me, let's begin to preach responsible conduct, responsible use of social media. And it's a matter of time, and I had cited in earlier columns and articles, that in Britain, at some point, people were urinating in every part of the world. They didn't just make law to stop people from urinating. It was moral persuasion, and we began to see changes. Thank you very much.
It's actually just come to our attention that in Canada, the law on hate speech is being moderated, so that if you put up a post, even a past post, something that you posted before and it's deemed to be hate speech, you can be prosecuted for that. Now, of course, it's being presented as though it's a retroactive law. My understanding is that if you are instructed to take down something that is hate speech and you refuse to do so, then you will be guilty of the offense. But I think that we can see from that in some countries, even the liberal democracies, the regulation of social media is on the cards. I happen to think that Nigerian social media is comparatively polite compared to the toxicity that we see in some other countries, and it's because of that toxicity that they feel that they have to regulate it. Of course, now that social media is being used to expose the horrors of the Israeli war on Gaza, suddenly the social media must be regulated.
Audience interventions and questions were also succinctly addressed by the panelists. During his address, Magnus Onyibe elaborated on the concept of Tinubunomics, discussing its impact on policies, challenges, successes, failures, and Nigeria's future trajectory, extending warm gratitude to all distinguished guests.
Tinubunomics is about the hard policies that the government of President Tinubu introduced. They are giving all of us hard times. You know what? There are potentials, there are signs showing us that if we go through them, if we, go through this very hard process, pass through this pipeline, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So we just have to brace up for the changes. It's rough and tough, but there's likely going to be less turbulence when things get steady. And it's just, as somebody pointed out, a few days to the first year anniversary. So it's too early to judge that what is going on is not in the best interest of Nigerians. Long run, yes. Short term, it's inflicting pain. But we believe that we're headed somewhere, and we should be hopeful.
The book launch was deftly coordinated by Master of Ceremonies Patrick Oke, followed by the presentation of Street Merit Awards to individuals recognized for their significant contributions to Nigeria's growth and development. The event concluded with a poignant closing remark from Mrs. Helen Onyibe, the author's wife, marking a fitting end to an intellectually stimulating and enlightening occasion.